Peace. There is a divine reason behind everything that happens in life. Sitting here pondering about consciousness and wondering about consciousness and just philosophizing about it, one comes to a realization of a truth, a simple truth, more like an understanding and a truth. Consciousness, before the human existence, was there. There's intelligence in life. There's intelligence in this tree. Indeed. Let's use this tree for an example. This tree, we know, holds some level of consciousness. What is consciousness? It's an act of awareness, or a beingness of awareness. And there's intelligence within this awareness and within this consciousness. And there's a purpose behind the creation of the idea that was manifested into what we call physical reality. So, the divine reason behind this, maybe the divine reason behind this tree is to create oxygen for the rest of the other creations that exist within the same reality as it to breathe, and for it to experience itself as that. It's giving off an energy that is in symbiotic relationship with something else. That could be the purpose. These trees, they all look very similar, just shaped a little bit differently. Different trees do different things. Some trees are poisonous, maybe. Some trees give off sap. Some trees give off. There's so many different things that these trees. There's so many differences within the trees. So that means that each tree has a different purpose. Why am I talking about this? Because then we have to look at the human existence the same way. We are consciousness the same as this tree is consciousness. The only difference is the DNA expression, the play out of genes, you could say. So you ask yourself, one could ask oneself, the very first human being created or coming into existence, once you had that first being, why would you create another when you have all the possibilities in one being? This being could be a football player. This being could be a soccer player. This being could be a gymnast. This being could be a martial artist. This being could be a breakdancer. This being could be all of these things. But instead of that, consciousness decided to break off into different colors of itself, different aspects of itself, different parts of itself that has different types of hair: curly hair, straight hair, blue eyes, green eyes, brown eyes, black eyes. And each of these beings have different programs. Different programs meaning different purposes, different minds, different collective of energies that make that being what they are. You don't have to necessarily believe in astrology if you don't want to. Just know that it is a thing, and that astrology is essentially what you are, a collective of energies, characteristics, traits, colors, genetic expressions. All of that is within your being, and that makes you the program in this reality of your name. It's not really your name, but that's what you go by. The Jonix program is this being right here, who come to understand this. So, in this expression of the human being we call Jonix, I look like this, I dance, I think like this, I come here to be like this for what? What is the reason for it? And this is what we must ask ourselves. We cannot, we can simply say that everything just is the way it is. Life just creates itself. It's just like a spontaneous thing. It has no real purpose besides just being. And that is indeed true too. Life, as we know, is multidimensional. So there's multiple purposes behind things. You just got to dive into each avenue to find out more about it. For example, would you have known that certain plants could heal the human body. That's such a symbiotic relationship. You get a cut, this plant over here manifested itself into this reality to express itself as itself. Whether you had a cut or not, that plant is still there. It's not necessarily meant for you, but somehow, ironically, or somehow like synchronistically, it just so happens that this plant also has a purpose to heal you. Because if it can be done, then thus shall it be. And it's not just a happening, it was intelligently aware of that. Life was. You might not have been at the time, but life was aware that this thing could happen if these two variables were put together. Life is so intelligent that it is beyond almost human comprehension. But it's not. It's just, you just have to put your mind there to comprehend how consciousness is working within itself, and how consciousness has a purpose for everything, and everything is created for multiple purposes. And so back to the point is that everything has a divine purpose. Everybody has a divine purpose. Everybody have multiple purposes. I'm open to seeing that. I can see that. So today, yes, the human existence could just be here to co-create, and human existence could be here to destroy, and the human existence can be here to create peace. Which of these vibrations are you along the lines of? Because each of us vibrate at a different frequency, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, etc. So when you learn more about yourself, you can figure out which frequency do I belong to, or which vibration am I vibrating on, so I can get with my collective tribe that vibrate on my frequency, so that we can create a reality that we all see similar and that we all want. Now, I also want to say is that I did not come here to work a job. I did not come here. It's not even that, because I already did it. So I did come here to do that. I already worked the job. I already done all of that in my past. But I'll tell you one thing. My purpose was not here to become something of that. I did not come here to become a doctor inside of an established building. I did not come here to become a star in Hollywood. I did not come here to support the reality that we're currently existing in. And this place, like what some people call Babylon, what I just call the system, I didn't come here to support it at all. And I do feel like we're coming back into the time where the meek shall inherit the earth. And I'll give it like 5 years from now. It's 2020. By 2025, or at least by 2030, the meek will inherit the earth. And that is not something that I can prove through science, which I actually can. I can prove that energetically through science. But the meek shall inherit the earth. I cannot prove that necessarily for someone who doesn't have the mind to grasp it, or what that even means. But we shall see. And yeah, just wanted to make this video because I had something I just wanted to say, and really wanted to think with you guys more on consciousness and how it creates itself. And I really want to end this video here, but one more thing, because I really want to dive deep onto understanding consciousness and awareness and creation, because that's one of the biggest things where we have to understand. Just think about it. Before there was anything, assume there was nothing. I'm not going with the Big Bang Theory, but you can almost assume that. Assume there was nothing in space, this blackness, void, nothingness. Only in the physical reality will it look like that, but I'm sure it will look like that possibly in every multidimensionally, so interdimensionally. There was still consciousness, there was still awareness, there was still intelligence in that nothingness, because in that nothingness can become something. This is the essence of what we are. Nothing. We are nothing, and we are something. When you get attached to your body, I've had out-of-body experiences before, so if you're attached to your body, the departing from your body at the end of your life cycle or during an astral projection, whether it was by mistake, because a lot of people have astral projections by mistake. They just wake up and they're like, what the fuck is going on? That happened to me, but it was consciously, unconsciously. And you feel that fear. They're like, oh no, I can't believe I'm dying. And you're like, I? That's funny because I'm saying I, but my body's right there and I'm looking at it, so who the fuck am I? You can still think those words and be detached from your physical ego. Wow. That is an experience in reality. That's a fact. With that experience in reality, we have to make safer assumptions that I am not necessarily just the body. I am more than my body. Do I have another body? Or am I just the everything and the nothingness that could possibly... I'm everything and nothing with the potential to be anything and everything. In this body, I just so happen to be channeling the awareness that realizes that, so it seems like an oxymoron. Like, Jonix, how can you be everything when you're right there in front of me? You're not that tree over there. Well, fuck. To you, I'm not. But you don't know who I mean when I say I. I don't mean Jonix. No. See? So in this voidness, in this void, there's still intelligence. Know that. In this void of space, before there was anything and everything, before there was something, there was still consciousness, intelligence, and awareness. And that's where we are at every moment, at every time. You just gotta close your eyes and you can go back to that space, because that space is right here. The rest of this doesn't truly exist. It doesn't have to. This tree, this reality, this light, the thing that lights up this realm, the sun, the trees, everything you see, it doesn't have to be here. Actually, once it's over, or it transitions to another look, you can say, this would just be a distant memory. It'd be like a second in hyperspace, or a second in space and time. It was like, oh, this was an idea, this was a thought, I wanted to experience life like this, so now I'm about, or it was just a possibility, it was a thought. This whole reality is a thought. Any other reality is another thought. The reality over there in the 15th galaxy is just the same as this reality. It just looks different. A bigger sun, so it's vibrating at different frequencies. The colors are different, all of that. The planet is probably different sizes. The beings on the planet are different sizes. It's all types of shit. But they're still subjected to the laws of consciousness. The laws of consciousness. There's still a possibility. There's still a thought. They may have been... They may be more technologically advanced, but that's just what they want. That's just what consciousness wanted. So back to consciousness before I get off. The way consciousness creates is through mathematics. I don't want to say mathematics because I don't want to box it down, because consciousness is infinite, and when we do try to like put words on it, it does, I do feel in some way that it boxes it. But through our observation and reality, we see that there's sequences in which reality creates itself. Look at the flowers, look at the seashells, look at all of that. You see that there's spiraling, there's spirals, there's sequences, and those spirals can be put on the graph and you can see the math behind it. That means that there was an intelligent creation. Why did it have to be a spiral? Why couldn't it be a fucking square? Why is it that nothing in nature is super blocky? Like, why couldn't it be like that? That's because there was already an idea. This is not about why nature didn't create itself like that. It's because nature wanted to create itself as so, because that was the idea, that was the thought, that was the way of creation through intelligent thinking. And that intelligent thinking came from the consciousness and awareness of everything and nothingness that is still doing that same shit, creating over and over and over, consciously, whatever. It's always happening. So this is not just a happening. It didn't just and then life is just constantly expanding and unfolding, and there's no real substance to it. It just is what it is. Like, I mean, technically it is what it is. Because, like, outside the labels. But it's not just a happening for no reason. And when you think that, you kind of, because I used to think that, you become numb to the true beauty of it all in a way. Like, you're just like, wow. But it's a double-edged sword. It's, it's the balance of however you see things. But you cannot see how beautiful this reality has been artistically created. Like, when I see nature and I see things in nature and I see color and I see flowers, I'm so in awe. Like, especially when I see deep colors. The reason why I'm so in awe is because beyond me just seeing how beautiful it is, I see what is truly happening. Like, when I see a beautiful orange, yellow like flower and it's deep, I'm like, wow, this fucking flower is literally coming from the sunlight. That without that sunlight is the source. Without it, that flower would not have even came to be what it is today. It wouldn't even have the consciousness. It wouldn't even have it wouldn't have what it has without the intelligent, creative process. And then I'm in awe because I get to see the results of that creative process, and you don't even necessarily see the creative process happening. You're just like, what the fuck? You see now, because I know what's happening, I'm like, whoa, like, so that's what's happening? Mind fuck. Even when I don't know, though, I'm just like, whoa, this is so beautiful, and I can only, it seems like I can only, like, admire it from just what I see, and that could just be it. Like, oh yeah, that was beautiful. When I really see what's happening, I'm like, yo, this is so fucking beautiful. I can't even, it's like, imagine if you saw the most beautiful flower on the ground, but you knew not of the process. You just knew that it was beautiful. But then you heard that the way that flower came about was that somebody had took a shit on the ground, and then they threw some chemicals on that shit, and then through throwing the chemicals on that piece of shit, or a lot of that, like that shit, it grew out this flower. You would be like, oh, what the fuck? Yo, you would be like, just knowing the process of how the fuck that happened to create something so beautiful, it will surprise you, and then you would then be able to appreciate it a lot more. You'd be like, wow, like, you put in work, the work that you see, the work that was done, you can appreciate that process. That's how I am about life. That's why I love to learn about how this is, and that's why I love to see the behind the scenes of things. But that's just my program. Not everybody is programmed like that. But this fucking life, as I was saying, is so intelligent. It is consciousness, intelligence. Never forget. Never forget. That's how beautiful life is. Everything has a reason. So if you ever go feeling like you don't have a purpose, even though sometimes I feel like I forget my purpose, but I never really do. And it can be a little difficult trying to keep your purpose in mind when you're living in a place that is trying to strip you from that, especially from your natural born purpose. Like, natural born purpose meaning, like, understanding who you are, understanding what role you play in this bigger picture of reality. Your natural role, not the role that they're trying to give you. Like, and you can only know your natural role in this life through knowledge of self, knowing yourself, spiritually and physically. And that's why astrology comes in and helps with that. Because believe it or not, astrology is connected to DNA. Once you understand it on a deeper level, like if you look at it on the surface, you won't understand it. You just think that there's some people trying to tell you who you are. Not that at all, actually. They're just showing you the possibilities of it's really, if I'm being 100%, it's showing you who you are. It's showing you who you are. If you understood it, you could see that. Point is, yeah, life is intelligent, and everything has a divine purpose, and everything is divinely created. It's created with a purpose. It's created with purpose. Without purpose, it would not have been created so for sure. Imagine if you're moving without a purpose, just to move. Imagine if you're doing things just to do them. You move so dead, like, oh yeah, today I'm gonna go walk down the street. Oh, why are you walking down the street? Just to walk, just to walk. Yeah, I'm gonna go eat. Why are you gonna eat? Are you hungry? No, I'm just gonna eat, I'm just gonna eat, man. Fuck it, why not? I'm just gonna fucking eat, man. Life, man, if it was like that. So look deeper into life, because life is looking deeper into you. Life is deeper into you. Look deeper into yourself, and you will find life. And that's all I have for today, really. So, I love y'all. Jonix flowing out. Peace.